Super Bowl 45 prop bets, and this is Marco's third best bet he's given you. Marco, I loved one of yours. Didn't like the other one. Here's the tiebreaker. Give it to
All
us.
right, let's see if we can do it. Now, we're going to actually be laying a little bit of price here. So, you know, I got chastised in the last video, so with the dog, maybe I'll get a pat on the back with this one. But I think there's value here on the sacks. Green Bay, the over-under for sacks is 2.5 sacks that they'll be able to sack the Steelers. I'm going to go with the yes on that and lay the 170. This is a situation, and again, you know, we talked about the offensive line problems in our last prop bet, and that's going to be part of my handicapping here. No question, without Pouncey in there, there's going to be some missed assignments. You know, they're going to do things that Green Bay is going to do some things that Pittsburgh hasn't seen them do on film to try to confuse the offensive line. And Ben's tendency to hold the ball a long time, to extend plays, I know it's hard to bring him down, but you know, again, it presents a problem that if you're holding the ball a long time, more chance to get that sack. And history has shown during the regular season, remember, Ben only played 12 games because he missed the first 4. Ben was sacked 32 times this year. And given now that we don't have our all-pro center, I got to look at over 2.5 sacks. And this becomes an even better bet if things aren't going good for Pittsburgh. If Green Bay is to get a lead like they've got.
Yeah. So, or it's a horrible bet if the Steelers are running out the second half. So how does that come into the handicap?
Well,
do you expect, I mean, it's, what I'm saying is, unless you have a strong, so what I hear you saying is, if you have a strong opinion on the Packers, you like this bet more, though you don't necessarily have that.
I don't necessarily have. I think, to me, it's bonus if things go bad for Pittsburgh. I think this is a safe bet on a normal handicap, but if the game gets one-sided, it becomes an even better bet.
Here's what bothers me. You're laying 170 here, and typically I understand if you move up, like for example, this is something that everyone needs to understand this week. 3 in the NFL, -3 is worth 25 cents. So if you lay 2.5 and lay 110, or you lay 3 and get back 115, which is a 25-cent difference, -110 plus 115, that's the same bet pretty much. All right, so you'd be neutral on that typically. I understand what a half point's worth there. I even understand what it's worth in a future bet. A half point's worth about 50 cents on a future. I understand that. How much is a half sack worth here? Like, I don't understand. What would you go over 3? And I'm not saying that not understanding this prevents you from liking it. But if it was over 3, would it be -110? Like, I don't understand what the real value is of a half a sack here when it comes to the likelihood of it falling 2 or 3. And it kind of makes me not know at that 170, am I just laying too much juice?
I honestly, I can't give you the answer for what a half a sack is worth, you know, because this is the only time that we do it.
That's what's different about the props, is it really is such a, it's exciting. It's almost playing poker, but it's dealer's choice. Right, so it's not hold 'em every time. It's, you know, follow the queen or whatever, and you only deal with it at those home games, or in this case, in the Super Bowl. I tend to agree, but doesn't it seem too obvious? Because usually you're afraid of the obvious.
I am afraid of the obvious when we're dealing with games where everybody's betting all the time, so the thought process is the same. I don't know if you can use that same logic and just go against the grain when we're talking about prop bets, because we're talking about one game.
But aren't props even more of a... But that's the thing. Any bet's just one game. If you think you have a 55% position, it's just one game. But there's a lot of one-handed blackjack for Steve Wynn is just one hand. But when you add up thousands of hand, your edge prevails. I just wonder if it's a little, the one thing I do like, I think the logic makes sense. I'm afraid of the lay here. One thing that does make sense is most people don't want to lay 170. So it kind of feels like they've jacked this thing up enough where they're really deterring you from betting it, which does fall into one of you, hey, if the bookie doesn't seem like he wants it, that's probably means you want it.
Right.
Any closing thoughts?
Nope. I just hope that it's not Steelers way behind having to get that sack total.
I've got a, and you're talking from the heart here.
Talking from the heart there, yeah.
I was on actually Fox Sports. I'm in my jacket today because I was on, actually, I'm sorry, not Fox Sports, Fox Business, talking on one of their 5 o'clock show. And they said, well, what quarterback do you like? I said, Big Ben. They go, I go, I'm a Steeler guy. She goes, that doesn't sound scientific. I go, hey, I put my finger up. I said, hey, I told you who I like, not who I'm betting.
There you go.
All right. Now it's your turn to continue the conversation in the comment section with Marco and me. And next up, we're going to go with, I got to be honest, a little more well thought out, but we're going to have 3 props from yours truly.